Yo, what is going on, guys? It's DuckyTheGamer back again with another video. Now, Season 3 yesterday left us with a lot of changes, and honestly, my main takeaway from Season 3 is that the loot pool is just all over the place. If you don't know what I mean by the loot pool, what I'm referring to is the guns available for you to use in Fortnite. Yesterday, so many guns were vaulted, unvaulted, added, that I thought it would be really fun to go ahead and rank them for you guys based on my experience so far. I've put in about 9 hours into the new Season 4. I've actually used every single gun in the game, so I have a pretty good idea of what the ranking should be. Also, some of these weapons are unchanged from last season, so I already have a pretty good idea of where they belong. And so when it comes to this tier list, I want to give a warning that this is just my opinion. If I rank a gun really high and you guys think it sucks, that's just my opinion. If I rank a gun really low and you love to use it, guys, don't really let this list affect your gameplay too much. However, I do think that there are some really underrated weapons in here, and there are some really overrated weapons in here that I want to shine some light on for you guys. But without further ado, guys, this is my tier list. On the left-hand side, you can see the tiers that I have created. Lachlan recently made a tier list video, and I really liked how he set him up, so I'm going to give credit for sort of yoinking his tier list. So as you can see, first tier, God tier, or broken. These are just weapons that are just so insanely good, you're going to have to pick up every time you see. S tier, really good weapons. Class, quality weapons, practical. You know, if you see one on the ground, you can pick it up or you can leave it. You're not going to be too screwed either way. Off spawn, viable. This means if you find a weapon off spawn, you could probably get a few kills with it, but once it's mid to late game, you're really not going to want to be carrying this weapon. And then zoinks is just, it just sucks. You don't want it off spawn. You don't want it late game, or you don't want it at all. Just leave it at that. So for this tier list, I found 20 different weapons. I have the 5 mythic weapons over here, and then also some of their non-mythic counterparts. I truly believe this is all of the weapons in Fortnite, with there being no patch notes. I might have been completely mistaken and left out a weapon, and if that's the case, I apologize, but I went through in my stream last night, and I believe I have every single weapon currently in the game. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start off on the zoinks tier. Once again, these are weapons you just don't want at all in the game. I only have, I think, like 2 weapons for this tier, and that's going to be the suppressed SMG and the rapid fire SMG. Now, this is because these guns can only be obtained, at least to my knowledge, by either killing henchmen or opening their chest in Fortnite. It's open a chest, you either have to kill a henchman or disguise yourself as a henchman. And these guns aren't necessarily bad, but the only way you find these weapons is either by killing a henchman, which means you already have to have a good gun to kill a henchman, or you're going to have to disguise yourself as a henchman, open a chest, and then more likely than not, there's going to be a better weapon in that crate. So these things, honestly, dude, they just suck. I mean, I'm glad they gave them to henchmen, because henchmen have aimbot, so I don't want them giving scars. But for the zoinks category, that's pretty much it. I don't want to stick on it too long, because really, the guns of this season aren't that bad. So moving to off-spawn viable, I'm going to have to go ahead and place the regular pistol in here. I have the legendary and epic pistol, and I'll touch on this later, but for the regular pistol, it's good off spawn. And, you know, if you get it out of a chest, you can laser kids. The headshot multiplier, as you guys know, this season has been reduced from a 2x multiplier if you shoot someone in the head to a 1.5 multiplier. So doing headshots and sort of lasering kids off spawn with a pistol isn't as broken as it used to be, but finding a pistol off spawn, it's pretty good, and really there's not going to be any complaints there. Now, this might be a weird move for you guys to make, but I'm putting the bolt sniper in off-spawn viable. Now, this sniper kind of makes no sense to be in the game right now. The hunting rifle is completely dominant. They spawn in every chest. Seems like you find them on the ground. You find them everywhere. So hunting rifles are better than bolts, and they're easier to find. And I would put the bolt in the zoinks category, but it's not that bad. I truthfully am probably never going to carry a bolt sniper in my life. For some people, it could go in practical, but off-spawn, if you're going to camp in a house, you know, you can get some medium to long-range picks with this weapon, but truthfully, this weapon just falls into such a weird category this season that it could go into so many places at once. But I'm just going to make everyone happy, put in off-spawn viable. Maybe you're going to go hit some phase quick scopes off-spawn. You guys can go ahead and do that. It's like I said, the guns this season, I think they're pretty balanced, and they all have their own place in the game. So that's it for the off-spawn category. Everything else, I would say, is pretty good. So we're going to hop right into the practical category, meaning if you see this weapon, you can pick it up. It'll help you out, but at the same time, you don't have to pick up the weapon, probably because you already have something of equal or greater rarity or usage. So this category is probably going to be pretty beefy, because in my opinion, that's what most of these weapons this season fall into. So we're going to be starting off the practical category with the regular AR. So far, you know, with the headshot multiplier being reduced from 1.5, from 2.0 to 1.5, I have seen myself use this gun less and less. I've been actually catching myself myself using the burst AR more. It's common. It just gets the job done. It's an old reliable. They're really common, so you'll find them all over the place, especially off spawn. But even that being said, I really haven't found myself using this weapon too much in the current meta. And that's honestly because the burst rifle, it's just good. I don't know what they did. They actually modified how the gun works so that the burst weapons no longer shoot 3 rounds in a burst. They're now 2-round burst weapons with a smaller magazine. But because of this, they are actually really good all-around weapons. On mobile, we have the aim assist, we get smaller bloom, and overall, I just find myself using bursts more than ARs this season. However, I have found one thing I don't like about this. Since the bursts only shoot 2 bullets at a time, it takes longer to destroy builds. So if it was a 3-round burst, or for some reason, it just had a lot of ammo and shot faster, it might be an S tier weapon, and that might be crazy for you guys. But right now, it's going to go in the practical category right above the AR. And because there's going to be so many weapons within the practical category, they're going to have their own like ranking system. So the gun in the first slot is going to be the most practical weapon, and the gun in the last slot is going to be the least practical weapon. And so I want you guys to keep in mind when I'm adding like all these weapons to this category. Now, honestly, this probably isn't a shock for you guys, but the Tacks Shotgun, it's good this season, but shotguns in general just got really nerfed with the whole headshot multiplier getting reduced. I think the golden Tacks Shotgun can only do like 140 damage to the head. It used to be able to do like 180, so shotguns in general really just are not vibing this season. And the Tacks Shotgun especially, like, it's good and it's reliable, which I do like. And I'm gonna touch on the Charred Shotgun in a little bit. But Tacks Shotgun, it's got a special place in my heart. It's going to go in the practical category. Now, this is going to be interesting. The Charred Shotgun. Now, personally, I debated so much last night in my stream with viewers about the Charred Shotgun. I think it has a lot of potential. The only problem is right now, it's really confusing to use. Even for me, I'm a pro mode player. I still can't wrap my head around how to properly use this weapon. However, with the insane damage that this weapon offers, apparently if you charge it up to the max and hit a headshot, a perfect headshot with the common variant of this weapon, you could do 180 damage. So in my mind, this is going to go in the higher echelon of the practical tier. It might be going higher or maybe even S tier if I was popping off with it, but because the community is so divided on this weapon, and personally, I still cannot seem to understand how to use this weapon. If Fortnite makes some adjustments to it, this could easily jump up to an S tier and be chilling. But right now, Charred Shotgun, it's just a weird weapon. Actually, I'll go ahead and put it ahead of the burst just because it's so close to being S tier, but it's just quite not there yet. Now, this might be a shock to you guys, but I'm going to put the Mythic Drum Gun, the brand new Mythic Drum Gun, in the practical tier. This thing is just not good. The Drum Gun last season, bro, I'm putting that God tier broken, but the new Mythic Drum Gun, they made it shoot slower. I believe it does a little bit less damage, and honestly, going to the authority and trying to receive this weapon like off spawn is so incredibly difficult that it's almost off spawn viable. Like, I'm not even trolling. This thing, I used it like one time last night. It was so disappointed that I would rather carry like a pistol over this thing. However, if you find this on the ground mid-late game and your loot's trash, of course you're going to pick up the drum gun because it's mythic. It does a good amount of damage for the gun itself, but just from what it was last season, the downgrade it took, the nerf that it received this season is just so incredible that I have to put it in the practical category, maybe even below the burst. I'd probably carry a burst over this weapon, to be honest, because the long range and the mid range on this gun is just absolute trash. All right, so that's it for the practical tier. I honestly thought I'd be putting more weapons in here, but these are all weapons you can use. I don't view them as greatly overpowered, and I have used each and every single one of these guns, so I do truthfully say they belong in the meta. They can get kills, they can be reliable, but they're not going to be popping off for you or just creating any crazy circumstances. So moving on to the S tier, no surprise, we got the Scar. It's all reliable. It does a ton of damage to the body. The headshot multiplier getting reduced makes it a little bit less powerful, but in general, I mean, if you see a Scar, you're just gonna pick it up. It's self-explanatory. Same thing with the AUG. For me, the AUG, it's just so good. It would be super high S tier for me if it didn't get nerfed to the point where it only shoots 2 bullets. I still like it, and to me, I think the Scar and the AUG are pretty much even, but the 2-bullet burst nerf does hurt this weapon a good amount in my opinion. Still really reliable. If I see one of these bad boys, I'm scooping it up, it's going to my inventory, and I'm just gonna beam some kids out of the air probably. Now this one might be a shocker for you guys, but S tier pistol, probably above the AUG. This meta, it's weird, boys. I'm not gonna lie. It's really confusing. It's only the second day of the meta. It's just so reliable, and the fire rate's there, the reload's there. And to be honest, they're kind of common now to the point where I think this, if you see one of these on the ground, I'm going to keep it over probably an AR. I'm definitely going to keep it over the Mythic Drum Gun because honestly, if I hop in a box with a pistol, I feel like I'm going to do way more damage with this than what I would do with like a drum gun. Once again, controversial tier list, but hey, you got to have fun sometimes. Now, the Mythic Grappler is going to be going in the S tier, and honestly, it's going to be going at the bottom of the S tier. They gave this, along with the drum gun, a pretty heavy nerf this season. If you guys don't know, the Grappler, it can actually shoot like 2 to 3 times farther than it used to be able to shoot. But with the nerf, as soon as you're done grappling, you immediately get gliders. Like you pull out a glider and you glide to your destination, and you have to land before you can pull out your gun. So because of this, taking height kind of sucks now, and going up vertically is really risky because if you don't land, you have to float all the way down. So using this as a transportation mobility, like going long distances, this is a perfect, and this honestly broken to just travel really far distances in a short time. But because of the fact that you pull out the glider, it has almost got me killed so many times. It is so risky to use this in a fight scenario that it's going to be going at the bottom of the S tier. It's still really good, and I'm going to pick it up, like I said, if I need to go to zone, or if I'm thinking about going for a trick shot. Like, you know, it's pretty fun, but it's also just so risky because of the glider fact. Now, SMG, I'm putting this in S tier. Last season, the SMG was a key part of my meta and competitive, and almost every mobile player's, you know, sort of loadout had an SMG. I'm also making this tier list in the mind of a mobile player. Bro, it is just too nice this season. It's gonna go right under the SCAR, and I'm actually gonna make an adjustment, put the AUG above the pistol, but the SMG is just so clean this season. Shotguns not being as good as they are. SMGs, you just take one, you get in somebody's face, and they're gonna die. Like, they're still broken, and they're still really strong and present in this meta. So for me, it's going mid S tier, high S tier. I love absolutely aimbotting kids with this gun. It never gets old. And so coming in with the Mythic AUG, I don't even know the name of this AUG to be honest, but there is a Mythic variant of the AUG. As always, faster fire rate, more damage, the same old symbol for a Mythic weapon. It's really strong, it's really powerful. You know, the burst, in my opinion, getting a buff this season with the reduced bloom and the 2-shot. I do believe that this could be a god tier weapon, but I've seen it so rarely. I've gotten to use it so little that unless you land at the Fortilla, I believe it is, and you go just to get that weapon, you're probably just not going to see this too often. So in my opinion, it's high S tier, almost god tier, but I've just seen it so little. Now, boys, that is it for the S tier, and that leaves me with 4 guns. I accidentally added an extra drum gun to this list, and I apologize, but there's 4 guns remaining that I believe this season are pretty broken, and that if I see, I'm always going to pick up. And that is the hunting rifle, the Shockwave grenade launcher, the Mythic charged shotgun, and the P90. Now, for this, the P90, in my opinion, is teetering on the line of god tier and broken. But yesterday, bro, like, dude, some of the clips I had, some of the box fights, some of the lasers, like mid-range, this weapon still melts. Like, I was using this instead of an AR and was getting more kills with it than I would with a SCAR. So for me and for you guys, you know, personally, it might be S tier, it might be practical for you, but bro, for me, SMGs have a special place in my heart. This thing's going low god tier, you know, just above S tier, right below god tier. Now, next in this list, we have the hunting rifle, and for you guys, you might put this in freaking practical, and I don't blame you, but for me, hunting rifles, they're my pride, they're my joy. Yesterday, hunting rifles got me out of so many jams and so many tough situations. It's crazy. If you get a purple or gold hunting rifle, you can use them instead of shotguns. Their hip fire, their bloom radius is so small that honestly, hunting rifles are like kind of a shotgun replacement, and I don't even know why they added the bolt in the game. Like, the bolt makes no sense when you have 5 hunting rifles in the game and they're all incredibly strong and common to find. But because you could find them at every single location, you can find them in chests, they're really rare. I'm gonna have to put them in god tier, bro. They're just so nice this season. Now, with my last 2 picks, I'm gonna put the Mythic charged shotgun ahead of the hunting rifle. To be honest, this has been my biggest debate for this entire list, is where to put the charged shotgun. I'm only putting it in god tier broken because of the fact it can do 220 plus damage to the head. If you charge up the Mythic shotgun to the max charge and hit somebody with a perfect headshot, I've seen myself hit a 220 headshot, and I think you can maybe go a little bit higher. So because this has 1 pump potential, has 5 bullets, and is Mythic, I'm gonna put it in broken just because the fact that no other shotgun in the entire game can 1 pump anymore. This pretty much replaces like a golden or purple pump of last season. This is the biggest debate in all of Fortnite right now, is how good is the charged shotgun. But for me, boys, it's gonna have to go in the god tier. And that leaves one weapon. That is the Shockwave grenade launcher. This thing. Where did this thing come from? I don't know why Epic added this, but this is by far the most broken thing in the game. You can launch yourself through builds just with other shockwaves. If you shoot a shockwave above your head, it'll launch you down low. If you're stuck in a build fight, you can launch yourself out of there. If you need to rotate to zone, you can launch yourself into zone. And honestly, where this thrives most is in duos and squads. Yesterday, when I was playing duos, if I need to get a new angle on a team, I would simply take my charged shotgun, point at my feet. I would go launch 20, 30, 50 meters, get a new angle on a team, and win every single fight. This is also perfect for trick shotting. If you guys are trick shotters, this is definitely God tier for you. I would not be surprised if this gets nerfed. I honestly think it's going to get nerfed. It brings back like the old season 4, 5, and 6 vibes for me. So I really hope the amount of just crazy, sick, fun, awesome plays I've had with this thing, it's gonna have to be going to God tier broken for me. I freaking love this. So this, guys, is my final completed tier list. You're probably not going to completely agree with me on my list, but hopefully there's some areas where we can agree. I definitely think my God tier is like kind of personalized. This is from a mobile player's point of view who really likes to snipe and trick shot. However, I do think there is some consistency throughout the list, and I do believe that this is a pretty accurate list. Once again, take this with a grain of salt, because if I were you guys, I would definitely not abide by this list. This is what I personally like to use with Fortnite when I play, and how powerful I think things currently are. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you go drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys do. I'm actually going to leave a link to this tier list down below in the description. If you want to try it out for yourself, you're more than welcome to. Just go test it out, have some fun with it, and maybe share it to a few of your friends, see who has the best tier list in the group. But on that, guys, it's been your boy DuckyTheGamer. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.